Ladies and gentlemen, gather close, because tonight we revisit one of the most anticipated nights in the history of the sport, the night two legends finally collided inside the ropes at the MGM Grand. The date was May 2nd, 2015, and the desert air in Las Vegas practically hummed with anticipation. For nearly 6 years, fight fans had begged, pleaded, and nearly rioted online for this single matchup. Two men, each considered the finest fighter of his generation, had orbited one another through countless negotiations, cancelled press conferences, and public jabs thrown far from any boxing ring. Now, at last, the wait was over. Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao would stand across from each other, and the world would finally get its answer. The introductions alone felt like the prologue to a legend already being written. Manny Pacquiao entered first, the Filipino icon known simply as the People's Champion, a fighter whose story had carried him from the streets of Sarangani province to the record books of boxing history. 57 wins, 38 knockouts, titles in 8 different weight divisions, a feat matched by almost no one who had ever laced up gloves. He was more than a boxer to his fans, he was a symbol, a source of national pride, a reminder that greatness could rise from anywhere. As his music hit and the arena roared, it was clear this was not just a fight for him. It was a mission. Then came Floyd Mayweather, gliding out in black and gold, the unbeaten king of the sport, a man who had turned defense into an art form and confidence into a brand. 47 fights, 0 losses. An 18-year career built on precision, patience, and the kind of ring IQ that made him nearly impossible to hit clean. Where Pacquiao represented raw, explosive aggression, Mayweather represented control, the calculating counterpuncher who had frustrated some of the most dangerous fighters of his era simply by refusing to be where his opponents expected him to be. Two philosophies of boxing, two icons of two very different fighting nations, now sharing the same 18 square feet of canvas. From the opening bell, the pattern that would define the entire fight began to reveal itself. Mayweather immediately leaned into what he did best, tying Pacquiao up at close range, initiating brief exchanges in the clinch, and using every inch of ring geometry to deny Pacquiao the wide-open lanes he needed to unleash his signature flurries. Freddie Roach, Pacquiao's longtime trainer, had preached one central idea in the build-up to this fight: restraint. Not the wild 5, 6, 7 punch combinations that had made Pacquiao must-see television for over a decade, but tight, disciplined 1-2 combinations, understanding that any wasted motion against a defender as sharp as Mayweather was an invitation for a counter. Still, in flashes, the old Pacquiao appeared. There were moments in the opening rounds where his hands blurred, where his signature straight left hand cracked through and visibly rocked Mayweather's composure, sending a ripple of noise through a crowd that overwhelmingly wanted to see the challenger triumph. Every time that left hand landed clean, the arena rose to its feet, sensing that maybe, just maybe, this would be the night an underdog conquered the man who could not be conquered. But those moments were fleeting. Mayweather, ever the tactician, absorbed the punch, reset his feet, and returned to his blueprint: jab, distance, clinch, repeat. By the 4th and 5th rounds, a tension had settled over the fight that felt almost unbearable. Pacquiao was doing just enough to keep the crowd believing, landing sharp combinations that started low to the body and rose to the head, catching Mayweather's attention and occasionally forcing him backward. Yet for every burst of Pacquiao offense, Mayweather answered with a lead right hand, a check hook, or simply the maddening ability to disappear along the ropes and reappear a half step out of range. It was chess being played inside a war zone, and every observer at ringside could sense that neither fighter was in serious trouble, but neither was cleanly winning either. The middle rounds only deepened the drama. Pacquiao continued pressing forward, occasionally landing that trademark straight left that seemed to be the one punch capable of genuinely unsettling Mayweather, especially whenever the champion dropped into his signature shoulder roll defensive stance. But Mayweather's jab worked like a metronome, controlling range and tempo, while his counters landed with surgical timing whenever Pacquiao overcommitted. There were stretches where it appeared Pacquiao had seized real momentum, forcing exchanges and backing Mayweather toward the ropes, only for Mayweather to slip away moments later, untouched and unfazed, as if reminding everyone exactly why he had never tasted defeat. As the fight rolled into its second half, subtle physical struggles began to surface. Whispers at ringside pointed to Mayweather appearing to shift his weight strangely on his left side, a nod to a history of cramping that had occasionally plagued him in training camp. It added a layer of uncertainty. Was the undefeated champion managing a genuine physical issue, or simply continuing his lifelong habit of making opponents question everything happening in front of them? Whatever the truth, it didn't stop him from producing his signature counters whenever Pacquiao surged forward, nor did it stop him from landing that grazing right hand that so often found Pacquiao's guard just enough to disrupt his rhythm. The 10th and 11th rounds brought some of the most electric sequences of the entire night. Pacquiao, sensing the fight slipping into its final stages, opened up with combinations to the head and body, mixing his attack with the kind of unpredictable angles that had made him must-watch television for over a decade. For a few thrilling moments, it felt like the challenger might be building the case that would swing the fight in his favor. Mayweather, though, responded the way great champions do under pressure. He absorbed Pacquiao's best work, tightened his defense, and answered with single, decisive counters designed not necessarily to overwhelm, but to leave an impression on the judges scoring the bout in real time. Then came the 12th and final round, the one both fighters and every person watching around the globe understood might decide everything. The energy inside the MGM Grand Garden Arena reached a fever pitch as both men, visibly fatigued but unwilling to back down, threw everything they had left. Pacquiao pushed forward with urgency, landing left hands to the body and head, trying to manufacture the dramatic finish his fans were desperate to witness. Mayweather, ever composed, mixed his own attacks with defensive mastery, ensuring that even in the fight's most chaotic final seconds, he never allowed himself to be caught in true danger. When the final bell rang, both fighters raised their arms, both believing, at least in that moment, that they had done enough. What followed was an eruption of applause that echoed the magnitude of what fans had just witnessed, a fight that, by nearly every account, had lived up to years of hype. Yet, as is so often the case in the sport's biggest events, the answer would not come from the fighters themselves, but from three scorecards sitting quietly at ringside, cards that would soon settle a debate that had consumed the boxing world for the better part of a decade. When the numbers were finally read, Floyd Mayweather was declared the victor. The judges saw a fight defined by superior ring control, cleaner output, and Mayweather's trademark defensive wizardry. Punch statistics backed the decision, showing Mayweather landing significantly more total punches over the course of the fight. For Mayweather, it was another chapter added to a career built on precision, discipline, and an almost obsessive commitment to avoiding damage. For Pacquiao, it marked his sixth career loss, a result that, while disappointing to his enormous fanbase, did nothing to diminish the respect he had earned through years of thrilling, high-out